No one should ever be surprised by how often greed and stupidity become close companions. It's something Cassandra Sainsbury knows all too well. 3 years ago, Cocaine Cassie, as we've come to know her, was locked up in a Colombian prison for attempting to smuggle almost 6 kilograms of the drug out of the country. As well as incarceration, her punishment included lashings of public ridicule for being so foolish. Cassie Sainsbury has now been freed, and a new woman has emerged from the cells. One who tells Liam Bartlett she's stronger, wiser, and determined to remedy her mistakes.
More often associated with misery and despair, the notoriously tough El Buen Pastor Women's Prison in Bogota, Colombia, does occasionally provoke other emotions. Very late one night, only days ago, it became a place of utter joy when it opened its heavy gates and threw out a drug-smuggling inmate. At that moment, it was impossible to wipe the smile off Cassie Sainsbury's face.
You don't know how long I've been waiting to walk through this door. I'm shaking.
When Cassandra was sensationally arrested in Colombia in April 2017, the headline writers didn't raise a sweat, coming up with the nickname Cocaine Cassie. The then 22-year-old from Adelaide was caught with almost 6 kilos of the drug stuffed in her suitcase. Back home, Australians were instantly dumbstruck someone could be so stupid. But what then unravelled was a sordid tale fueled by drugs, sex, and lies.
Cassie, how has life been?
Tonight, after 3 years locked up, Cassie wants to talk
It doesn't actually feel real yet.
about her days in prison
I wake up and I just cry.
and the new love of her life. She also wants to come clean about what got her here in the first place.
So were you lying to me previously?
Her admissions might change the way you think about her.
I just wonder if you have trouble remembering what's really true compared to which version you told me about prior.
But only if you believe she's telling the truth.
I am being honest. And I wouldn't wish anybody to go through everything that I've been through either.
If 3 years in prison gave Cassie anything, it was a chance to reflect on her questionable past.
There's a lot of things that I regret about the situation that I was in, but everything has made me stronger that's happened since I've been here. There've been a lot of learning lessons, and everybody makes mistakes.
She documented her final days inside as she anxiously awaited news of her parole.
But it's so horrible. When you're waiting, I'm going crazy. I'm going crazy. Because...
And when the moment of her release finally came, she was greeted by her best friend and former cellmate. Cassie's relief was palpable.
It's been 3 long years thinking about the time when I was going to be able to walk through this door. It feels free. At the same time, at the moment, it doesn't feel real. All the time that I've seen Bogota, it's been absolutely cram-packed.
And it won't feel real for quite some time.
But it's absolutely empty. It's like a ghost town.
Because, like the rest of the world, a once bustling Bogota is now in lockdown in a bid to combat coronavirus.
Cassie, hi. How are you?
Good, thank you, Liam. How are you?
That means for Cassie, her newfound freedom comes with a new form of confinement.
That's ironic, isn't it? You finally get out of jail and you're still in lockdown.
Yes, it's, yeah. But at the same time, it's still freedom.
So in all, you spent 3 years in jail.
It was 2 years, 11 months and 21 days.
Yeah, you must have been counting.
To the very last day.
Cassandra,
Hello.
Liam.
I first met Cassie in prison shortly after her arrest in 2017. Back then, she was hardly forthcoming, let alone believable.
There's a lot of porky pies going on here, isn't there?
But today, she assures me, she's a very different girl.
I've grown up a lot. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about people. I've learned not to trust people so much. It's been definitely like a massive learning curve. But at the same time, everything that I've been through in prison, everything that I learned, I wouldn't change it because it's made me a stronger person. It's made me who I am today.
There's no doubt, in many ways, Cassie has changed. For a start, she's found new love.
Good morning. I'd like to present you to Jolie. Hola.
While in prison, she split from her former fiancé, Scott Broadbridge, and began a relationship with a fellow inmate.
Honestly, it was the least thing that I expected to find in prison. Like I said, it started as a friendship, and then out of nowhere, it just turned into a relationship.
So, along with the maturity that you say you found in jail, you also, discovered you were gay, or has that always been the case?
No, I didn't discover that I was gay then. I guess I've actually had experiences with women beforehand, but it was more so, I guess I never pictured myself in a proper relationship with a woman. But here I am.
They were together for 9 months before Jolie dropped to one knee and proposed in front of their fellow cellmates.
Will you marry me?
Cassie's new fiancé, who's serving time for theft, is due for parole shortly. And Cassie's not the only person looking forward to her release.
Give our love to Jolie when you speak to her, and hopefully she'll be out soon.
Cassie's freedom is a bittersweet relief for her mother, Lisa. Due to COVID-related travel bans, Lisa, who's in Adelaide, is unable to visit her daughter.
It's been a long time since I've seen you.
2 years. More than 2 years.
For now, their only hope of seeing each other is through a computer screen.
And I've changed a lot in 2 years.
How's that?
The obvious, I'm skinnier.
Already, Cassie has plans for the future.
Job offers as far as, because you have to work, obviously.
I've had a couple of people talk to me about modelling and about stuff, but at the moment, like, there's nothing here to do in Colombia at the moment. There's no work, there's nothing.
Oh, of course, but it's got to end. It's got to end. Just look after yourself. If you go out, wear mask. Have you got sanitizer and everything?
Everywhere I go, I have a face mask.
Gloves?
Do you want me to tell you the truth?
Well, I obviously know the truth now with you saying that.
It's fair to say Cassie has long struggled with the truth. In fact, her story has been riddled with lies from the start. To understand how she so foolishly ended up behind bars in Bogota, you have to delve into her past. Back in her small hometown in South Australia, a younger, cash-strapped Cassie was known for her get-rich-quick schemes.
She volunteered to look after the Kabawi Tennis Club's finances.
Accusations of deceit date back to 2015,
Had access to two bank accounts for online transactions.
when residents claimed she stole money from the local tennis club. And, later that year, refused to pay rent to her landlord when her gym business went bust. Cassie has long denied the allegations.
There's a lot of people here. The list is starting to stack up. As far as you're concerned, all those people so far have either made a mistake or have singled you out.
Pretty much.
These days, there's one thing she is willing to admit. That, as a younger woman, Cassie made a number of regrettable decisions in a bid to break free from a cycle of debt in which she felt trapped.
The situation was very difficult for me and Scott. Neither of us had any work. We had rent to pay, we had bills to pay, and it was sort of like, had all this pressure on top of me to try and do something before we'd go under. And so I applied to a job offer, which was working as a receptionist in a brothel.
Coming up, coming clean.
But that wasn't quite true, was it?
No.
Cassie's life turns to strife.
You're the sort of person who needs to try and be a sex worker.
Seduced by greed.
I was getting drunk, I was getting tipsy.
And on a path to hell.
Then he forced my clothes off.
That's next on 60 Minutes.
It's a question that's long baffled us. Why would a young Australian make such an audacious attempt to smuggle almost 6 kilos of cocaine out of Colombia? Today, after 3 years banged up in Bogota, Cassie Sainsbury says she's ready to explain.
Let's talk about your version of events, shall we?
And it all comes down to a desperate attempt to make cash quickly. Cassie says the saga started in late 2016, when, under the burden of debt, she applied for a role as a receptionist at a brothel in Penrith, in Sydney's west. A former colleague from Club 220 told 60 Minutes Cassie would travel from her Adelaide home and work under the pseudonym Claudia.
She would fly in and sometimes she would stay for a week or sometimes just for 2 or 3 or 4 days.
When I first met her,
I wasn't a prostitute.
Cassie vehemently denied the claims.
You weren't a prostitute?
No.
You never worked at Club 220?
There was some work relating with Club 220, but it wasn't prostitution.
That wasn't quite true, was it?
No.
While Cassie maintains she applied for a role as a receptionist, she claims when she arrived, her bosses convinced her to become a prostitute.
I got there and it was, but you're not the type of person to be a receptionist.
You're the sort of person who needs to try and be a sex worker. And so it was go and change. If it doesn't work out, we understand and we'll see what we can do. And so it was like, I wasn't comfortable doing it. I didn't like doing it. It was, if it wasn't that, it was sort of like, what else?
Cassie says she didn't last long in the job, and when she decided to leave, her brothel bosses introduced her to a mystery man who offered her a role as a courier.
What's his name?
Joshua.
Joshua. Joshua what?
I never knew his full name.
What does Joshua look like?
He was like tall but chubby.
Green eyes, brown hair.
How old was he?
I would say he looked between like 30 to 45 years old.
30 to 45 years old, tall, slightly chubby, green eyes. So we've just narrowed it down to around about 800,000 Australians. Did you get a business card from him or something?
No, nunca.
Armed with such little information, you'd have to wonder why Cassie would trust this man. But apparently, she did.
And after a few months of working for him, she accepted an international opportunity, which came with a $10,000 paycheck. In April 2017, Cassie boarded a flight in Adelaide to Guangzhou, China. From there, she flew to Los Angeles and then on to Bogota. When she arrived, she was instructed to check in to a local hotel, where she says she met the mastermind behind the smuggling operation. When I first asked her about him, Cassie was just as elusive as the man she described.
What did he say his name was?
Angelo.
Angelo.
I didn't get a last name. He was very, very vague on details.
But today, Cassie herself is less vague with detail, naming the drug lord as 39-year-old Brazilian Angelo Sanchez.
So were you lying to me previously?
I wouldn't say that I was lying.
But I wasn't giving you everything.
But it turns out you did get his last name. So which version is true? This latest version?
That's the true version.
Is it?
I've already paid my time. I don't have a reason to lie about it.
You'd hope Cassie is not lying, because what she says happened in the days that followed, when he took her to his apartment, is horrifying and still distressing for her.
What happened?
Yeah. It was basically, he was saying that I had to be there with him,
that I had to do what he wanted, that I didn't have a choice. And then he gave me a soft drink, and it was almost like I felt like I was getting drunk, like it was like I was getting tipsy. And like I started getting sleepy.
You think he spiked that drink? Yeah.
And from there, he forced my clothes off.
And he assaulted you? You okay? Do you want to take a little break? Do you want to have a little break for a sec?
Coming up,
You feel like you're sinking and there's no way to get above the water.
the sage advice
It's that mix being desperate and being stupid.
of a failed
I knew something was weird. I knew something was off.
but repentant drug smuggler.
Yeah, there are no shortcuts, are there?
No.
That's next on 60 Minutes.
Life these days looks very different for Cassandra Sainsbury, who's just spent 3 years in prison after attempting to smuggle almost 6 kilos of cocaine out of Colombia. Released on parole amid the coronavirus pandemic, Cassie has gone from the confines of her cell to the confines of an apartment. It's tough, but what's getting her through is the love and support from her new fiancé, Jolie, who she met behind bars. As they await Jolie's release,
Tú ni si puedes imaginar la falta que me haces.
they lovingly connect through the occasional phone call and written letters.
Do you think it's made you mature a little bit?
Yes, definitely.
In her first interview following her release, Cassie assures me she's a different girl from the defiant and naive one I met shortly after her arrest.
At first, I didn't even know it was drugs. I came here, I was told that I was going to be basically transporting documents.
What, as a personal courier or something like that?
Sí, yes, sorry, Spanish, yes.
Cassie remains adamant that she was not a willing drug mule. She claims she only realised the work was more sinister when she landed in Bogota and was confronted by an abusive and threatening Brazilian drug lord named Angelo Sanchez. By then, she says, it was too late to back out.
So it was like he simply had the threat above me saying that if I didn't do what I was asked to do, that it was my family.
I felt like I had to go through with it because I couldn't make somebody else pay for my mistake.
Who did he threaten to kill?
He threatened to kill my sister. Like, they had photos of my sister.
And also they sent me 2 photos of Scott.
So they were like surveillance photos?
It pretty much looked like somebody had been following them.
But when you originally told me that, you said he also threatened to kill your mum. But now you say it was only your sister and your then fiancé.
They're the photos that I received of my sister and of Scott. But obviously, they said in general, they said the people that I care about. And so I guess you could say I took that as everybody. But officially, what they sent me was my sister and my ex-fiancé.
Crippled by fear, Cassie says she allowed Angelo to pack her bag before heading to Bogota's international airport to board a flight to London. This CCTV shows Cassie walking through immigration. Soon after, she was arrested.
let's just look at the facts for a moment. So you're caught at immigration and you're taken away and the police open your bag and they find the 5.8 kilos of cocaine. And this is only hours, couple of hours after Angelo has threatened your loved ones with death. It's only days after you say you were raped by this drug mastermind. And you're standing there with the police and you have the hard evidence of this, but you choose not to say a single thing to anyone in that room about any of that, not to anybody in authority that could possibly help you. Now, explain that to me. How can we believe that's possible?
Because it's not as easy as saying, it's not mine, this person did it. It's not that easy, because they don't believe anybody.
When Cassie was summoned to court, she claimed she was acting under duress.
I was told that my family and partner would be killed.
But failed to produce the evidence she said she had on her phone to prove it.
Is it true that you've forgotten the password?
It's very true.
Cassie's next claim for why she couldn't access that proof has long baffled me.
Are you serious? You've forgotten the password?
Yes. I mean, you think about it.
I am thinking about it. In fact, I'm sure I don't know another millennial who has forgotten their password.
If I knew the password and I've told my lawyer, I'd give it. But that's all it is. If I can't remember, I've got nothing to give them.
Have you still forgotten that password?
Yes.
That password has been sort of lost in the dim, dark recesses of your memories?
Unfortunately, yes. Because as well, like I know everyone says it's stupid, like how can somebody forget a password, especially if it has like key evidence?
Well, it's a great question, isn't it? Why are you so emotional about that? Why does that particular incident make you teary? What is it about that?
I guess you could say the fact that, you know, if I had the chance sooner, or I was given the chance to try and get inside of the phone, that I would never have had to have done the time that I did.
Cassie ultimately accepted a plea deal and was sentenced to a maximum of 6 years behind bars.
Hi family, how are you all?
While it's still tough to tell fact from fiction, one thing about Cassie's story is clear, and that's what motivated her to accept that fraught and fateful job in the first place.
But isn't it that promise of money, Cassie, that really got you in trouble? If you were being really honest with yourself, that's what really led you, wasn't it? Is that fair?
I know it sounds, because obviously I accepted to come and do it for money, because I needed money.
But it wasn't exactly like I came there thinking, yes, I'm going to go and smuggle drugs. It wasn't like that. But when I got there, I knew something was weird. I knew something was off. And it was like, I'm here. Like I already had both feet stuck in the sand. Nobody knows how it feels when you feel like you're sinking and there's no way to get above the water.
Cassie, how are we to describe what's happened to you? Is it naivety? Is it stupidity? Or is it just you're the unluckiest girl in the world?
It's a mix between being desperate, being stupid, and
wanting to try and do something to get ahead, and it came out worse. Because I lost 3 years of my life.
Through the fire, through the smoke.
What would you say to young girls in Australia who may face the same sort of hardships in terms of paying bills and be thinking about getting jobs, and what would you say to them?
There's a saying here that says, money easy earned
the quicker it goes. It doesn't mean anything, it doesn't last anything. That to value the freedom, don't ever think that because you're in need of something that you should be willing to accept whatever it takes to do it.
Yeah, there are no shortcuts, are there?
No.
Hello, I'm Liam Bartlett. Thanks for watching. To keep up with the latest from 60 Minutes Australia, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You can also download the 9Now app for full episodes and other exclusive 60 Minutes content.